In Czechoslovakia, the repressive regime of Antonin Novotny still stamped on demands for a more open society. By February 1968, the Czechoslovak reformers were taking over. Brezhnev flew to Prague to size up the new leader, Alexander Dubček. Brezhnev accepted that some change was inevitable. Alexander Dubček seemed a loyal communist who would alter only what was necessary. By March 1968, Dubček and the new president, Ludvík Svoboda, were in charge, but their reforms were already shocking the rest of the communist world. The reformers were confident that they could bring communism up to date. The party would still lead, but by consent, not force. There would be freedom to speak and write, to travel and organize. There would even be a form of market economy. Dubček's vision was named Socialism with a Human Face. One of the first changes was the ending of censorship. Suddenly the papers were full of truth, revealing the crimes of Stalinist Czechoslovakia. Everywhere, crowds gathered in anxious debate. After 2 decades of terror and silence, Czechs and Slovaks had found their voice again. Western styles and visitors poured in. This May Day there was genuine joy. Trust was growing between the people and their leaders. But could communism be reformed?
On the
one hand, they wanted to preserve communism and socialism, as they called it. But on the other hand, they wanted to give it a human face, which meant that they wanted to lift the lid a little. But they hoped that the lid would not fly off with the pressure inside the cooker, as it were, that they would still be able to contain the situation.
In May, a grim Soviet Prime Minister, Alexei Kosygin, visited the Czechs. Soviet dislike of Dubček's reforms had turned to horror. Moscow feared the Communist Party might lose power. Worse, Dubček might change sides in the Cold War. In the early summer, Warsaw Pact troops staged very public maneuvers in Czechoslovakia. After the exercise, they left their signals network in place. The warning was not hard to read. Threats from Moscow and the Warsaw Pact failed to make Dubček climb down. In July, Brezhnev, Kosygin and the entire Politburo arrived from Moscow with renewed demands.
The
situation was quite tense. We came to an agreement that the Czechoslovaks would themselves carry out a certain number of crucial measures to restore order. This involved some changes of personnel, the introduction of tighter control over the mass media, and stricter work among certain layers of society. And the imposition of censorship, because openly anti-communist, anti-Soviet publications and articles had started to appear.
2 days later, the Czechoslovak leaders made some concessions, but it was too late. The Soviet Politburo had already decided to solve the problem by force. On the night of August 21st, Soviet paratroopers seized Prague airport. Soviet and Warsaw Pact armies burst through the Czechoslovak frontiers. As the invasion began, the Czechoslovak leaders were meeting in Prague.
We listened to the airplanes flying overhead. Dubček was waiting for a telephone message, but instead the door suddenly opened and paratroopers came in, carrying Kalashnikovs. They stood behind us and the commander said they were taking us under protection in the name of the forces of the Warsaw Pact. What will happen later, we will see. We were prisoners.
Before their arrest, the party's leaders managed to condemn the invasion. By morning, Soviet tanks had taken over the center of Prague.
A lot of the population were bewildered. They were surprised. When we'd taken up our positions in front of the target buildings, people started coming up to us, asking, "What's going on? What's happened?"
Suddenly we heard a shot. I saw a boy, only 2 meters away from me, fall to the ground. The armored car started to advance. People moved to the side streets. But there were so many of us, we couldn't all fit in those narrow streets. I was at the edge of the crowd. The armored car struck me. There was nothing I could do. It hit my knee with the front wheel.
See, I went through the Hitler invasion in 1939, and I must say that the Soviet invasion, 1968, was even crueler impact than the Hitlerite one, because Hitler was our declared enemy. We didn't expect anything from him but the worst. But here, those who for years and decades preached that they are our best friends, our brothers, the guarantors of our independence, came with an army of 500,000 to suppress our drive for a little bit more freedom. They came to crush it, they came to murder it, to murder that attempt to democratize socialism.
This action was dictated, first of all, by the need to preserve the balance of power in the relations between East and West. And of course, we were interested in preserving the established system.
Czechoslovakia's kidnapped leaders decided resistance was hopeless. In a tragic broadcast, Dubček broke the news.
Prosím vás, nedopusťte provokácie. Nedovolte vniesť paniku do našich hradov. Nezostáva nám v ťažkej situácii nič iné.
The Czechoslovak experiment, the most daring attempt to marry communism with democracy, had failed.